I made James sort of a grilled stir fry, and he's having cantaloupe. I'm going to talk about Cherif a little more. And first I'm going to sing, it's not really a song, it's a poem, but I've been singing my poems. So we'll see how this goes. This one's called Hot Birds, and I wrote this one quite a long time ago. I wrote it October 16th, 2023. And yeah, then I just didn't do anything with it for
3 months ago.
It's just been sitting around. I like to feed the birds in fall with seed upon my windowsill, which isn't very wise at all. When seeds lure pests I have to kill. I hate to have to kill the mice who come to breed within my house, since mice are cute and seem quite nice, at least when there is just one mouse. On cold fall days I like to sit and watch the birds who come to eat. I see each dropping quite a bit of seed for pests I loathe to meet. I sweep up seeds that hit the ground, but not as often as I should. And so I know some seed is found by mice, and know that that's not good. Though capsaicin will really burn us mammals, which includes the mice, the birds aren't hurt by it and learn. Seed mixed with it still tastes quite nice. With ground up habanero on the bird seed on my windowsill, my autumn mice concerns are gone, and yet my songbirds get their fill of seeds that I have left behind. I wonder if hot birds I feed stay hot for any cats who find them after they've ingested seed. I may control another pest, my songbird's pest, my neighbor's cat. This one hot tip I got's the best. If cats stay gone, I'm fine with that. So that's my little song. And if you were watching yesterday, you realized that, wait a minute, did this hot bird seed not work? No, I wasn't doing it. And then all of a sudden I got a lot of mice all at once. So it was, I caught another one overnight. Today. So that was
13.
It was 13. I think it's 14 now, or maybe it was 14, now it's 15. It's somewhere around there. In, roughly 3 days-ish.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a lot of mice.
It's weird because the weather's been good. I mean,
yeah, they came in when the weather was good. Yeah. They were living outside, and then they were like, "This kind of sucks. Yeah. Let's go in."
Before we
she has such good food snap for us out here. Yeah. It's got to be great inside. Yeah, so that kind of.
It's weird. The grass has stayed green. Bits of grass have stayed green all winter.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, 2 days away from February. It's kind of bizarre.
So, Cherif, I was talking about this yesterday, and it ended up changing after, it changed in season 4 was different than 1 to 3. I don't know if I didn't read to see if different people were working on it or what, but one thing that I didn't like, though, I'm now on season 5, and they've changed, it looks like they've changed the actress for the daughter, and she's away, so you only see her face like a little far away on the computer screen, doing the FaceTime with her dad. But I think it's a different actress, and that always sucks. I remember they did that with the Roseanne show. Roseanne was huge, and all of a sudden they got in, I guess they were having problems with one of the daughters or whatever, and so they decided, that's it, we'll get a different actress. So it doesn't work. It doesn't ever work. So if you run into problems with an actress like that, or
playing the same character,
yeah, it never works.
Get a different character.
Yeah,
like kill the person
off, or character. You didn't have to have her FaceTiming with her dad. You don't have to show us that. You could have the grandmother saying, "Oh yeah, so I talked to such and such," and he's like, "Yeah, she never talks to me lately," or whatever, and that would work out, But you don't have to have a different actress play her. It never works. So I didn't like that right away. And Capitaine Briard, she ended up going to Canada, and he stayed behind. It's a bit of a spoiler alert for you guys if you're like, oh, what's happening? Yeah. What happened to, like, it's a pair. So now they have him working with another woman for a while. I don't know if this will change back. I sure hope so. Because I liked where it was going in season 4. I thought, wow, they might actually be able to pull it off, because it never works out once you have the two characters that, oh, will they get together? Well, and then they get together and you're like, whatever. But it seemed like it was going to work the way they were doing it. And now it's just like she's gone, and you're kind of like, will she be coming back? But it's not like, oh, will she be coming back? It's like, what are you doing? Will she be coming back? It's just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of fallen off. I mean, this got a top of the stack yesterday, and now I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. They better clean things up. I'm not liking it. But I mean, they still have the character that I like, who's cracking jokes and stuff like that.
Cherif?
Well, no, not him. He's not cracking jokes ever. He's kind of a charmer. But men really, in shows, they have to be a charmer. You always have the beautiful women actress, and you have the charming men. Whatever, the men have to be charming, especially if they're older. If they're younger, they can be kind of edgy or whatever. But no, once you get older, you have to have some charm if you're a man. Honestly, I might sound kind of rude by saying that, but I mean, Cherif here, he's a fairly good-looking guy. He has a full head of hair and whatever, but and kind of tall.
Whiskers, it looks like too.
That's okay. But I mean, a lot of the time you think about guys and there was one thing I didn't like. There was when I like with Cherif, it's honestly the script writers, they were pretty smart about it. They just looked at all the scripts that have worked and they said, okay, well, we're going to take a little piece of that, a little piece of that, because I mean, that's his character, right? He's referring back to, oh, let's do this because this happened in whatever show, seasons whatever, right? Episode whatever. So that's the whole show, and sometimes he'll talk about movies or whatever too. And so they're just, the script writers, they're just keeping notes on, yeah, that worked in that show, let's plug it into this show. And it's pretty smart. Not terribly creative, right? Because it worked in another show, but it's funny, whatever. And that's the way of the world now. There are very few creative people. The people who end up making money off of ideas typically aren't the ones who came up with the idea in the first place. It's somebody who decided to do some sort of spin-off with that idea, right? And not giving
or just be the boss
dues to who came up with it, but it's just the way of the world. And so I don't know, I guess I watch this and I'm like, that's how the world is, whatever. But I drifted off there. There was so one part, there was the Cherif, he's hearing what women are thinking, right? Like, and he says, like that Mel Gibson movie, right? So he's hearing what women are thinking, and he overhears that one of the women in the police station she's attracted to the guy that I said is funny, right? Who cracks the jokes all the time. So, but she says, I really like his roles in this because he's kind of chubby and whatever. Mm-hmm. But women wouldn't say that. They'd say, I think he's charming, or I think he's funny, or whatever, right? Women wouldn't say, oh yeah, I love how fat he is, But that's the thing about men, is a lot of the time they end up balding. A lot of men bald, and a lot of men start gaining weight. And honestly, it works out fine for them because a lot of men, they're funny or charming or whatever. And
Bruce Willis is a case in point.
did he chub out though? I mean, he's not chubby. He's never chubby. He's pretty in shape.
Lost a lot of hair.
Well, yeah, but yeah, a lot of people do. So anyway, and then sometimes when I watch movies and there's like a chubby balding guy and he thinks he's a stud and he's like hooking up with like women who anybody would think is a 12 on a scale from 1 to 10 or whatever. It's kind of ridiculous, and I find it off-putting, but a lot of the time it does work out for men that way. But really, if you're a balding chubby man, you should expect that the person you're going to end up with is a balding chubby person. Really. Why would you expect that you would find somebody that's physically looks different than you or in different kind of shape, whatever. Anyway, that's what I think. So if it ends up that you find somebody who isn't balding and chubby and whatever, then whatever. But anyway.
Some people hide it with a comb over. Like you got a guy who's officially obese. It's the world's worst comb over. That's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I guess some women consider him a catch.
Yeah, but I mean, he ends up with women that are from Eastern Europe or whatever,
elsewhere,
right?
of course, they're challenged.
So, yeah.
Basically,
honestly,
like refugees.
Basically.
Economic refugees.
Yeah.
Anyway. Series is pretty good, but not necessarily going the direction you want it to.
Not anymore. Or not currently. We'll see. I mean, they still have time to pull it back around for me. But right now I'm not liking season 5. So, anyway, how's that cantaloupe?
It's awesome. It's good.
Better than the fry stuff, hey? No, you just wanted the cantaloupe. Oh.
It's going to have to last me up till tomorrow.
Oh.
I don't want to be lugging 2 things
Oh.
to the car, right? So
Oh.
this is what I want to be lugging. This
Okay.
is what I want to finish.
So you just wanted to taste it and then...
Well, I was hungry, and it looked good.
Okay.
And it lived up to the promise, so...
So I don't know what James wants to talk about. The only thing that we noticed today that I want to bother to mention on the camera, I guess, was there were some people protesting or demonstrating. I don't know what you call it. If it's is it really protesting? Anyway,
basically the same
if you're
thing.
saying like I'm for this, then it's not really protest. A protest is I'm against this, right? So I don't know. Anyway, but they were for affordable daycare and stuff like that, right? So affordable childcare, stuff like that. And they were,
I guess that's
first
what they
we
call
saw
it.
them when they were walking down 3rd and down. So they were walking from the schools that are over there, presumably. And
that would have been it. They were given
because
time
there's a
off.
whole pile of schools there. And they were walking down to City Hall and they had their signs and everything. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, what are all these teenagers doing, right? And so then James
Like
said, well, I want to see, they're going to
okay.
City Hall. And I'm like, yeah, that's where they're going. So he wants to go figure out what they're doing, whatever. And we were talking about it and we're thinking, what could be? But honestly, I don't know if the people with the cameras were focused in on the fact that so many of the people were teenagers and should have been in school at the time.
The vast majority.
And
And not,
So really, it
once you're
doesn't
past
say-
12, you don't need childcare, right?
Yeah, I
You
think
can fend
you
for
can give
yourself.
it. You can be
You
a
can
babysitter.
actually give it.
So, anyway, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, this is not a very good advertisement for, the people who are doing this demonstration, even though there's a lot of people there. It's like, okay, well, had you done this on a Saturday, would you have gotten this turnout? No, because, I'm looking at these people and they're using it as a way to skip school. That doesn't look good. For if you're talking about, affordable daycare so people can go to school. Oh, wait a minute. Here they are. The people who should be in school.
And it's kind of weird because the schools are making a statement
Yeah.
about...
And plus, I'm looking at these signs and I'm thinking, okay, did you do that in the morning? You made your signs in the morning at school? So, well, you should have been learning trigonometry or something. No, you were learning how to put glitter and markers onto bristleboard. And
this is the reason why our educational systems, I'm not talking about Alberta so much, but generally in North America don't work. We've got idiot teachers playing politics.
Yeah.
And they don't, for example, believe in memorization. In Finland, they've got the best education system in the world. They did last time I checked, tied with Alberta, and two very different approaches, or fairly different approaches. The thing is, which do you think gets better performance? In other words, which country or region, we're talking Alberta, would have people from all over the world, like from different educational backgrounds and stuff like that? Ain't Finland. Alberta's doing it with raw material that's way tougher to deal with than Finland. You see what I'm saying? They got people whose parents would be barely literate.
Yeah.
So Alberta does a way better job. It's ridiculous. People, wow, that Finnish system's awesome. They can decide what they're going to learn and all that. Yeah. It's already been instilled in them by their parents.
Yeah, my ex, he went to he told me about how his mom got him into a gifted school when he was, I think it was grade 7 or something like that. And he said, I was so far behind after taking that year in that gifted school. He said I had to teach myself so that I could get back up to
and it was basically he set his own learning curve, right?
Yeah, in the gifted school they got to decide what they were going to do, and he said there were ridiculous things, like you could do political cartoons. You could spend your time doing political cartoons, or do he listed some of the just ridiculous things they were doing, and thinking that they were superior to public school students, right? And but he was saying they weren't. He said they were so far behind. He was so far behind after doing that. So anyway,
most people have to have a curriculum set. No, I don't. Like when I hit university, I oftentimes correct, usually very nicely. In other words, not during class, correct the
both
professors.
of your parents were teachers, so that probably.
And that's the thing. A lot depends on your parents. Well, that's the thing about Finland. I doubt if they've had, until very recently, people coming from all over the world. People whose parents have had very poor educations, or the kids themselves with very poor educations. Whereas Alberta, because of the oil and other extractive industry economies, has people coming from not just from Canada, disadvantaged areas of Canada, like until recently down east, Newfoundland, for example, and stuff like that. When they come out the same, you can compare the two, but you got to take into account the kind of disadvantages the Alberta educational system has.
And well, as much as I do believe that there has to be daycare in place for people who can't afford to, like for single mothers or something like that, you know, or single parents.
Single fathers.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot. My ex's mother, she was a single parent, and she had 3 children to take care of. And Silas, he'd tell me stories about how he was a little kid and he'd be wandering around the coulees and just discovering things all day or whatever. Well, his mother was in university because he had nobody to take care of him, and you know, he was saying, I could have fallen in the river and whatever. Nobody would have, but at the same time, he got to see nature all the time, and he loved it. So I don't know, different things, but he didn't think very much of that. But anyway, so there has to be childcare in place, because what are single parents going to do when they're trying to take care of their children, and so they're trying to go back to university or whatever? Where are their kids? What are they going to do? You know, if their kids aren't school age yet, well, they're just wandering around the coulees discovering nature. So but anyway, so yeah, I think there should be affordable childcare, or honestly free childcare. It should be free childcare for people who are going to universities and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think, okay, well, everything has unintended consequences. So down the road, if childcare is in place, well, the system will just expect, oh, well, you can get childcare so you can all be out working, and nobody needs to be a parent at home. And I strongly believe that there needs to be, that children should be raised in a 2-parent family, or maybe more, you know, if that works out.
If there are grandparents involved, it's better.
If that works out, that's great. But there needs to be somebody at home all the time. I strongly believe that. So I don't want to see something like 1984, you know, George Orwell. Well, all the kids are raised by somebody else, you know, and
so amongst
the family is gone.
Yeah, nifty, shifty, hefty lefties. There actually is this idea that society should be communistic when they wouldn't like that term now, but that's what it is, in raising children. In other words, children shouldn't be raised by the family. They consider family oppressive. And we've seen that. The Spartans did that. The Spartans, it wasn't
village
democracy.
To raise a child, and it's like, okay, so the child's just running around with nobody raising him, because that's just the way it works out. If it's not your child, usually people don't care.
They get raised in institutions.
Yeah.
And one of these days, someone's going to come along who supports the Catholic Church or the United Church or whatever, and say, oh, look what happened to the natives in Catholic Church, in the United Church. Mm-hmm. But then let's look at what happened to them in schools. We're in various sorts of institutions. Yeah. I have a relative who was taken away from his dad, single dad, deserted by his wife. And his dad couldn't afford the daycare stuff. Mm-hmm. And they left the kid at home. He was 12 years old. He's taken over by the province. This was in Alberta. I believe in Alberta. and went into, what do they call it? He kind of got farmed out. I guess that's foster care, but he was in various institutions. Wee little fella. And what he's subjected to, and no one's talking about this. Huge abuse. The worst example of what he went through was gang anal rape. Bingo, province of Alberta. Brilliant. So that's supposed to be better than him being neglected by his dad while his dad is off working. No. That should be obvious. So we're looking at that Cherif thing. I'm sure it's funny and all that sort of stuff, but Muslims, we're told, are 10% of the French population. How come there's a lead role, and the other lead role is a woman? Now, I was going through a catalog this morning, taking a break from filing my books. How much time? 5?
Less. 3, maybe.
Okay.
3.5.
And it was from 2018, so it was before George Floyd. Black Lives Matter. Well, not before Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
But people were already going over the edge about, I call it race mania. So this is a company, it looks as though it's headed out of Edmonton, Jewelers. And it was a little catalog, came in the mail. I'm going, wow, I'm sure seeing a lot of color in these pictures. You know, Alberta is not 50% people of color. No, yeah. And I counted up all the hands that were colored and all this sort of stuff. And then all the people with white. And it was 23 to 17. People of color outnumbered. Now, you know, people are doing this modeling. That's a job. Maybe not the most important job, but it's a job. And what's happening is white folks who are into modeling are getting discriminated against. See how that is? No, you wouldn't. At least you nifty, shifty, hefty lefties out there. Oh, people have got to have like images of themselves. You know, like I'm mainly Irish. And the last thing I want to see is a bunch of Irish folks coming. I don't identify with Irish people. There are parts of Irish culture that are impressive. Music. William Butler Yeats, you know, like some poetry and stuff like that. The mixture of songs, lyrics, songs, lyric and music. And then, you know, like I've got a strong Scottish component. The Scottish brought enlightenment, not just to England, but to the world. But, you know, most of the Scottish people that I've run across here in Canada, I haven't been that enthused about. Most of the Irish people, not that enthused about. I don't want to see huge oodles of them coming in. People have got to see, I got to see a person who's, you know, like dressed in a kilt, you know, to make myself feel comfortable here in Canada, in Alberta. Get off of the stick.